felt it, haven't you? That strange, lingering sense of being watched, of constantly being observed. For a long time, it felt like an invisible drain, a subtle but ongoing pull on your energy, almost as if someone had secretly tapped into your power source. You've been walking a purposeful path, aligned with a divine frequency that belongs solely to you. Yet in the background there was this quiet hum of competition you never consented to. They were observing, measuring, trying desperately to keep pace with a force they couldn't grasp or duplicate. But now, something has shifted. That hum is gone, the draining sensation has vanished. The silence around you is not imagined. It is real. It's the sound of their system collapsing. They exhausted themselves trying to keep up with an energy that was never meant for them to carry. Now, let's look closer at their downfall and your triumph. First, they mistook your anointing for an achievement. They thought your radiance was a prize earned through ambition, something you claimed by competing. Their narrow competitive mindset. Everything is framed as a game with winners and losers. They misread your divine glow as a strategy. They interpreted your inner stillness as a calculated act. Because they operate from a place of constant striving and effort, they projected that reality onto you. They assumed you were running the same race as them, just that you were somehow better at it. This was their first and most critical mistake. They failed to understand that you are not achieving, you are channeling. Your power is not something you built. It is something you were born with and have finally learned to accept. It is an anointing, a divine signature on your soul that cannot be earned, copied, or They put on their running shoes to compete, thinking they could out-train you, out-hustle you, outwork you. They celebrated hustle culture, believing that relentless grinding effort was the only path to success. So your ease and flow seemed like a trick to them, an unfair advantage they had to overcome. They viewed your alignment as luck and your divine timing as mere coincidence, because acknowledging your anointing would force them to admit that their entire philosophy of life, built on struggle, is flawed. They were trying to win a game of earthly chess, completely oblivious to the fact that you are not a player on the board. You are the hand that moves the pieces, guided by an intelligence they cannot even perceive. Their exhaustion is the frustration of trying to achieve something that was never achievable for them. 2. They tried to hack your divine operating system. They tried to hack your divine operating system because they saw your life producing results. They believed they could reverse engineer your success. They studied your every move, your words, your projects, even your moments of rest. They treated you like a piece of advanced technology they were determined to figure out. They were, in essence, attempting to hack into your divine operating system. They thought if they could just mimic your user interface, the way you present yourself to the world, they would gain access to the same power, the same blessings, the same flow. So they mirrored your actions, echoed your ideas, and tried to replicate your spiritual practices, but they were only copying the surface-level applications. They had no access to the core programming, the source code written by the universe itself. They were met with repeated access denied messages in their spirit. The projects they cloned from you felt hollow and lacked impact, because they couldn't replicate the soul you infused into your work. They couldn't see the intuitive downloads you receive in silence, the divine protection that roots your path away from danger, or the deep well of faith that fuels you when logic says you should quit. Their attempts to hack you were met with a divine firewall. The burnout they feel is the equivalent of a system crash after trying to run a program their hardware could never support. They were a dial-up modem trying to process a fiber optic reality, and now their entire system is corrupted and offline. 3. Your authenticity was a high-frequency mirror. Your authenticity was a high-frequency mirror. You don't have to do anything to expose people like this. Your very existence is an act of exposure. Your authenticity operates like a high-frequency mirror. When they came into your energy field, they were not just seeing you, they were forced to see themselves reflected back. And the reflection was unflattering. In your light, they saw their own shadows. In your genuineness, they saw their own masks. In your peace, they saw their own inner chaos. Your joy reflected their bitterness. Your freedom reflected the bars of their self-imposed prison. This was profoundly uncomfortable for them. People who live behind a facade cannot stand to be around those who are unapologetically real. It forces them to confront the exhausting lie they are living. Instead of taking this as an opportunity for self-reflection and healing, they chose to attack the mirror. They tried to dim your light, to invalidate your truth, to find cracks in your character, all in a desperate attempt to distort the reflection and make themselves feel better. They tried to smear mud on the mirror's surface, but your authentic vibration was so pure, it simply repelled the negativity, polishing itself even brighter. The more they tried to attack you, the clearer and more powerful the reflection became, until they could no longer stand to look at it. Their burnout is the exhaustion that comes from fighting a reflection of their own self. 4. They were powered by envy, a depleting fuel source. They were powered by envy, a depleting fuel source. Your energy is a renewable resource. It comes from your connection to purpose, to love, to the infinite intelligence of the universe. It is clean energy. You recharge in stillness, in joy, in service. Their energy, however, was running on a toxic and rapidly depleting fuel. Envy is a powerful motivator in the short term, but it is a deeply inefficient and corrosive fuel. It burns hot and fast, requiring constant stoking to keep their competitive fire going. They had to constantly find new things about you to resent. Your success was their fuel. Your happiness was their fuel. Even your peace was their fuel. They were addicted to the adrenaline rush that came from seeing you and feeling that spike of jealous motivation, like a cheap energy drink that gives a 5-minute high followed by an hour-long crash. But an engine that runs on envy will eventually destroy itself from the inside out. It creates immense friction, stress, anxiety, sleepless nights, and spiritual corrosion. It poisons the body and clouds the mind. The burnout they are experiencing is the inevitable result of running a high-performance race on the dirtiest fuel imaginable. The engine has seized. The tank is empty. They have run out of their toxic resource, while your clean, renewable energy continues to flow effortlessly. They mistook your seasons of rest for moments of weakness. They mistook your seasons of rest for moments of weakness. As a chosen one, you understand that growth is not linear. It happens in cycles. There are seasons of intense action and seasons of deep intentional rest. You know that the quiet periods are just as productive as the loud ones. It is in the stillness that you integrate upgrades, heal your vessel, and receive new instructions for your next chapter. They, from their frantic and insecure viewpoint, saw these periods of rest as a sign of weakness. They thought you were falling off, losing momentum, or giving up. They saw your retreat as their opportunity to get ahead. There was a smug satisfaction in their energy during these times. They truly believed they had finally caught up or even surpassed you. So while you were wisely recharging your soul, they were sprinting, trying to gain ground, running in circles on a track of their own making. They would launch projects, make loud announcements, and try to fill the space with their own noise, hoping to finally overtake you while you were inactive. But then your season would shift. You would emerge from your rest, fully recharged and powered by new downloads, ready for a quantum leap. And in a single move you would effortlessly glide past the point they had struggled and exhausted themselves to reach. Their burnout is compounded by the shock and confusion of realizing that your rest was actually a more powerful strategic move than their most frantic efforts. 6. Psychic debris was returned to sender. Psychic debris was returned to sender. Let us be very clear, the competition was not just on the physical plane. They were sending immense amounts of negative energy in your direction. The gossip, the secret ill will, the obsessive thoughts, the silent prayers for your failure. All of this is psychic debris. It is low vibrational energy sent with the intent to slow you down, to create obstacles, and to plant seeds of self-doubt in your spirit. They may not have been conscious of it in these exact terms, but the intent was there. They wanted to see you stumble. However, you are divinely protected. Your anointing comes with a spiritual immune system, a powerful auric field that acts as a shield. The psychic debris they hurled at you could not penetrate your high-frequency field. Instead, it hit your shield and, following universal law, was immediately returned to its point of origin. Their own auric fields, weakened by envy and inauthenticity, were porous and unable to handle the boomerang effect. They began experiencing unexplained bad luck, creative blocks, and sudden obstacles, never realizing they were tripping over the very traps they had set for you. They were essentially living in a house with no roof during a storm they created themselves. The exhaustion they feel is not just from their own efforts. It is the crushing weight of all the negativity they sent out coming back to land on their own head. They are burned out from carrying the weight of their own bad intentions. 7. They tried to outrun your destiny. They tried to outrun your destiny. At the core of their competition was a fundamental misunderstanding of how destiny worked. They believed that success was a single finish line, and that if they could just get there before you, they could claim the prize. They were literally trying to outrun your destiny. It was a fool's errand from the start. Your destiny is not a location or a destination. It is a divinely orchestrated unfolding. It is a path that is uniquely yours, with blessings, opportunities, and timelines that are coded specifically to your soul's signature. No one else can walk your path, and you cannot walk anyone else. Their frantic attempts to keep up with you were like trying to chase a specific ray of sunlight to its source, or trying to steal another person's shadow. It is an impossible and exhausting task. They could see the light of your destiny shining on your path, and they tried to race it, not realizing that their own destiny was waiting for them on a completely different path. A path that grew darker and more overgrown the longer they ignored it in their obsession with your. Their burnout is the deep, soul-crushing fatigue that comes from abandoning one's own divine assignment to chase after someone else's. They are tired because they have been running away from themselves for a very long time. 8. You were growing roots while they were chasing branches. You were growing roots while they were chasing branches. Your focus has been internal. You have been doing the deep, unseen work of spiritual growth. You have been healing your wounds, clearing ancestral patterns, strengthening your inner voice, and anchoring your roots deep into the soil of your purpose and your faith. This is the work that creates unshakable stability. It's the courageous work of facing your own shadows so you can hold more light. They, on the other hand, were focused entirely on the external. They were chasing the branches of your tree. They wanted the visible fruits, the beautiful leaves, the height of your success. They saw you blossom and immediately tried to graft one of your branches onto their own trunk, hoping to produce the same fruit. They did not understand that the fruit is merely a byproduct of the health of the root, because all their energy was focused on the external, on appearances, on social media metrics, on what you were doing, on how they measured up. They neglected their own root system. Their foundation is shallow and weak. The first strong wind was bound to knock them over. Their burnout is the collapse of a tree with no roots, a structure with no stability that was bound to fall under the weight of its own empty ambition. 9. Their energetic account went into overdraft. Their energetic account went into overdraft. Think of life force as a currency in a bank account. You operate from a place of spiritual abundance. Your account is directly linked to the infinite reserve of the universe. When you operate from purpose, love, and authenticity, you are making constant deposits. Your energy is self-sustained. They were operating a very different kind of account. Theirs was fueled by external validation, comparison, and envy. Every act of performance, every moment of obsessive checking on you, every bit of energy spent on maintaining their false image was a massive withdrawal. Gossip was withdrawal. Plotting was a withdrawal. Faking a smile was a withdrawal. They were writing energetic checks that their soul could not cash. They were living on borrowed time and borrowed energy, going deeper and deeper into energetic debt. Burnout is what happens when the account goes into severe overdraft and the spiritual bank freezes all assets. The spiritual creditors have come calling, and their accounts are empty. There is nothing left to withdraw. They are now facing an energetic bankruptcy. They have no more resources to spend on the competition because they have squandered their entire life force on a meaningless pursuit. 10. The universe demanded their surrender. The universe demanded their surrender. These individuals would not have stopped on their own. Their ego had too much invested in the race. To stop would have been to admit defeat, and their pride would never allow it. They would have continued running on fumes, destroying their health, their relationships, and their own spiritual potential until there was absolutely nothing left. They were becoming hollowed out versions of themselves, a ghost animated only by comparison. So the universe, in its profound and often severe mercy, intervened. It did not offer them a choice to surrender. It demanded it. The burnout was the mechanism for this forced surrender. It was a divine circuit breaker that tripped to prevent a complete and total meltdown. It was an act of protection, both for you, to free you from their relentless negative focus, and for them to save them from complete self-annihilation. This collapse has forced them into a state of stillness they would never have chosen. It has unplugged them from the external drama they were addicted to and has left them with only one thing to look at: the inner emptiness they were trying so desperately to run from. Their burnout is your confirmation. Their burnout is your confirmation. While you may feel a degree of pity for them, it is crucial that you reframe this entire situation. Their collapse is not a tragedy you need to fix. It is a powerful confirmation you are meant to receive. It is confirmation that your energy is potent and high frequency. It is confirmation that your path is divinely protected. It is confirmation that authenticity will always outlast artifice. It is confirmation that you have leveled up energetically to a place where lower vibration simply cannot survive in your proximity for long. It is confirmation that you are operating so fully in your anointing that those who are not aligned simply cannot sustain being in your orbit in a competitive way. Their exhaustion is the proof. It is the evidence presented by the universe that you are exactly where you need to be, doing exactly what you need to be doing. Do not dilute this powerful message by feeling guilty. Think of this as your spiritual graduation certificate. You have passed the test of maintaining your frequency in the face of energetic opposition. Your light did not burn them. Their own resistance to your light and their refusal to cultivate their own is what caused their system to short circuit. Accept their burnout as a sign from the universe that you are on the right track, and they, quite simply, are not. 12. They are now experiencing an information blackout. Their entire strategy relied on having access to you information about what you were doing, who you were with, what your next move was. They were constantly gathering data, trying to anticipate and counteract your growth. But now, due to their burnout, they have been placed in an information blackout. They no longer have the energy to stalk your social media, to ask mutual friends probing questions, or to even think about you with the same intensity. From their perspective, it's like their favorite TV show has been canceled, and they feel lost and disoriented without you as their central point of focus. Their entire identity was wrapped up in being your rival. The universe has cut their surveillance feed. This is an incredible gift for you. You are now operating in a clean, clear, and protected, energetic space. This gives you immense creative freedom and strategic silence. You can now plan, create, and build without worrying about their prying eyes or copycat energy. This period of their collapse is your window for radical, uninterrupted acceleration. Use this time wisely. Move forward with the big plans you have been holding in your heart. Launch the project, make the move, write the book. The path has been cleared of lookouts and spies. You have been given a period of divine privacy to build the next level of your empire in peace. 13. The game has ended and you were declared the winner by default. The game has ended and you were declared the winner by default. Every competition has a conclusion. This secret one-sided game they were playing has now officially ended and you have won. What is most beautiful about this victory is that you won by default. You won simply by refusing to play. You won by being ungameable. You won by staying in your own lane. You chose to focus inward on your growth, your healing, and keeping your energy pure. You didn't need to involve yourself in their chaos, respond to their games, or even acknowledge their competition. Your victory didn't come through conflict. It came through presence, through simply being. Their exhaustion is their quiet surrender. It's them walking away from a race they were never meant to win, acknowledging, even without words, that they can't match your pace. Their silence is their white flag. The real prize here was never material success. It was peace. While they scrambled for a crown that never mattered, you stayed rooted in your truth. And for that, you've been gifted something far greater, a lasting, unshakable calm within. Let that truth settle deep into your spirit. You were vindicated without ever needing to fight. Your elevation, your serenity, and your continued rise are the scoreboard. And it's lit up with one message: authenticity always outlasts performance. This silence you now feel, it's not empty.